Hello, this is Frontline here, and welcome back to another episode on Craftaway. And in this one, we are actually doing a very special episode, and it is something that has just been plaguing my mind for the longest time: looting. I believe in looting, and yet so many people don't. And there's justification towards that. It's that, the reason this comes up, and I know I jumped right into it, is because we are getting a lot of demand for firework rockets. A lot of us have elytras, I included, and we want to get lots of gunpowder. Problem is, it seems as though looting isn't doing as well in the game as it normally should. So, in the end, I thought that looting should be working. I mean, maybe it's not working as well as I anticipate, but I believe in it. So that's the reason we're doing this episode. This episode is all going to be about testing whether looting works or not. I'm going to do it on Craftaway, so it's going to be on a realm, in the normal circumstances of a realm in which people will be able to hop on and off. I mean, I'm alone on the server at the moment, but later on, who knows if people will come on as well. I'm hoping not, just so that I can gain more mob spawning up here. But anyway, we're over here at Klautos' base for a reason. As of right now, he has not given me permission to do this experiment as base. I hope he does by later on in this video. It's just that right now I've come here prematurely so that I would be able to replace the torches down there with carpets here. The reason I'm actually replacing them at all is just so that I know exactly where the torches need to be placed. Obviously, he has put a lot of time and effort into placing these torches, and I don't want them to be screwed up. So I'm just going to go ahead and replace them in that way. Oh man, the phantoms. That's going to be an interest. I don't have any arrows. I completely forgot I had no arrows. I am going to have to go back to my base and get those. Anyway, so that is actually completely not what I'm going off on a tangent is what I'm trying to say here. I am going to check you back up at my base where I will get some arrows, dodge this phantom, and I'll explain more on how this experiment is going to work. So here we are back at the base. The thing that we are going to be doing is a scientific experiment, and it's going to follow the scientific method very thoroughly. I'm going to explain it right now as we probably head back, since I already have my arrows and everything. I'm pretty much just stocked up at the moment. So here we go. This is going to be, well, first of all, let's just pose the question. That's the first thing you need to do in scientific method. And the question that we are answering today is, does looting 3 have a greater effect than a bow currently in Minecraft Bedrock realms? So this is not going to apply to PC edition. This is going to be a whole entire thing on just Minecraft Bedrock, specifically the Craftaway realm, but it should also apply to any other realms as well. So I'm going to be conducting my research over here, or well, my experimentation over here. My research I have actually already conducted. That is the second stage of the scientific method, and it is one that I found kind of interesting, that there actually is some evidence that, wrong tunnel, there is some evidence that leads to the fact that looting 3 doesn't actually have that great of an effect in Minecraft Bedrock, but I am trying to refute an argument that KunipshunFit and some other Castaway members have, in the fact that they say that they can actually gain more drops from creepers with a bow than they can even with a looting 3 sword. And I think that's preposterous, but of course that's the reason why we're doing this experiment, just to confirm without just automatically assuming that we're correct. Because why in the world would a bow actually have a greater effect than a sword in any case, especially when the sword has a looting 3 effect? So let's actually jump into the research here. I'm going to have to pull up my notes, so I'll catch you back up in the next clip. So as I go through the data here, I'm actually going to pull up images from screenshots that I have taken from the various websites that I'm citing here. Also, you can find them in the description with links specifically to where I found them and who the authors are, if it's applicable. So in this case, we're just going to start off with the bug that says that the looting enchantment does not properly increase the chance of mob drops. This is something that I found really interesting, especially since the confirmation status is confirmed and the resolution is unresolved, meaning that the versions that are affected, including the one that we're on at the moment, 1.6.1, is affected. In that case, that means that it's just confirmed, like looting does not increase the chance of drops. That does not confirm that a bow does more than looting. It just confirms that that is the case for the moment. Our next thing of evidence is more like what is supposed to happen. So it's not necessarily what is happening with the bug, it's just what's supposed to happen, what happens on Java, what is supposed to happen on Bedrock. And it's the fact that creepers are supposed to drop 0 to 2 pieces of gunpowder. And the 0 to 2 is inclusive, so a creeper can drop 0, it can drop 1, or it can drop 2. The chances, as I researched, are supposed to be equal, so it's 1/3 chance of each of those drops. Looting, I also looked up on the same page on the Minecraft Wiki, is that we're going to focus on looting 3 for the moment, because that's the one that most survival players are going to be using, is the fact that it's evenly distributed, like an extra chance of dropping extra items for that way. You can see with looting 1, it's like half and half for no and 1, and looting 2, it distributes it closer to dropping an extra item. Looting 3, what we're looking at today, is basically it has an increased chance of 1/6 to drop 0, an increased a chance of 1/3 to drop an extra 1 item. And by the way, this does not mean that it's a 1/3 chance of it dropping 1 item. It's a 1/3 chance of it dropping an extra item. So we have to also account the chance of it dropping a 0, it dropping a 1, or it dropping a 2, and apply that to it dropping 1 extra in addition to that whole entire thing. Same for 2 items. 3 items is a little bit less chance, but nonetheless, we're still able to calculate that together. So this equation here is one I found on the it's not really the Cornell website, but it's a resource that I found. The full citation is down in the description, but it's basically the probability, or well, it uses probability to find the expected payoff for getting gunpowder per creeper we kill. So when you look at the beginning of the equation, P of outcome 1, that means the probability of outcome 1. So that's the probability of it dropping 0 gunpowder. We multiply that times the payoff for outcome 1, meaning that if we have like 0 gunpowder, we multiply that times like the 1/3 if we're not using looting. We add that to the payoff, which is gaining 1 gunpowder times the other. So it's basically just this equation. I'm not going to go too in-depth, but I will. This is basically my justification for the next slide, in which I actually show you guys the expected outcomes and probabilities of gaining the various different amounts of gunpowder. So as you can see, we expect to have 2.5 gunpowder per creeper when it comes down to looting. If we don't have looting, though, we actually have an expected of 1 gunpowder per creeper. So what we're going to do in our experimentation is kill 100 creepers, and the expected amount we should get if we are using a looting 3 sword is 250 pieces, or 3 stacks and 58. Or with our bow, we should expect to get 100 gunpowder, or 1 stack and 36 pieces. So that was a lot of math. I'm hoping that people didn't leave the video because they were very much underwhelmed by that. But don't worry, it will get more exciting. We're going to be able to prove exactly what is going on in the world of Minecraft, and whether or not our results come out close to what the expected values are. So I'm going to go ahead, actually take control of the person. I'm going to replace the torches and stuff, wait for it to become night, and I'm going to go all around here searching for creepers and all that kinds of stuff. Kill anything that is not a creeper as well, so that the mob cap can be brought down, and hopefully we will be able to gain ourselves some results from killing those 100 creepers with a sword and 100 creepers with a bow. Wait, stop the presses right now. We actually forgot to do an important part of the scientific method, the hypothesis. I can't believe I forgot about the hypothesis. So before we actually do that, well, it's already too late. You can see by my XP bar that I've actually already done this. But I did write my hypothesis down of what I thought before the experiment would go down. So what I have recorded is that looting 3 does not have as strong of an effect as it should be, but it still produces more than what a bow would produce. So that's my hypothesis. That's what I think is going to happen in the experiment, or at least that's what I thought was going to happen in the experiment. I'm not going to confirm nor deny it until we actually get to our research method, which you will see after this little time lapse that I made for you guys. So as you can see, I have restored the land. I have placed back torches from where there were carpets, from where there were torches, if that makes sense at all. So anyway, we have 2 chests. This one right here is the looting 3 sword gunpowder, and right here is the one I used with my enchanted bow. That was the main thing that we were going to be testing. In the process, we earned a lot of mob drops, a lot more than I was anticipating, which I should have anticipated more because, I mean, seriously, we just killed 200 creepers. That is a big ordeal. We were able to get like a bunch of rotten flesh, bones, string, armor, bows. There's just various things. We even got some phantom membranes. I tried to sleep as much as I could, but I also kind of didn't want to sleep because like whenever we get through a night, that means that I'm not able to actually gain any more mob drops because I'm relying on only working at night. So yeah, I just tried to always sleep like at the end of a night, be able to set my spawn, make sure that that timer has been reset. But yeah, a lot of different stuff. You can see here, this is the spruce wood that I was able to gather from the trees over there. I just wanted to get rid of those so I could have a clear line of sight all around. All of this is going to be donated to Klautos, by the way. This is it's a weird payment, but it's a payment for his services. And let's just actually go ahead and reveal what we did, shall we? Instead of rambling on like we normally do. Over here, looting 3, we were able to get 3 stacks plus 44. What that actually equates to is that we got ourselves 236 when we estimated that we were supposed to be getting 250. On screen now, I'm going to display the percent error of that. I'm recording it negative percent error because it's basically the fact that we lost gunpowder in the process. We were supposed to get 250, but we got 236. So that's just how I'm going to interpret the data in that kind of way, which is not bad. A 5% error is actually normal in the field of science. So that was actually pretty much expected. When it comes down to the enchanted bow, however, we actually ended up with 2 stacks plus 2, which equals a clean 130 when we expected to get 100. The percent error on the screen right now shows you that that's actually 30% error, which is insane. So there are 2 theories to this. One is the fact that, or well, not the fact, I always say that phrase, but in science I shouldn't ever say the fact just like that. So my reasoning for hypothesis 1 is that the game is just broken in that kind of way, in that whenever I use a bow or just kill them in general, it drops more gunpowder than it should. Hypothesis 2 is that there is a little bit of human error, which is actually probably the more likely one. Whenever I shoot them with a bow, oftentimes I was trying to heal up my Silk Touch pickaxe as well as my Fortune pickaxe. Both of those I was trying to heal up during the process, meaning that probably whenever I was shooting, I would immediately switch to my sword. And if you don't know, whenever you're holding a looting sword and you have an entity that was killed by you, the looting effect still actually applies to them, even if you don't use the sword itself to be able to do it. Just holding it is able to get the looting effect. So I tried my best not to do that, but that could be one case. Although the one thing is 30% error, that just seems wrong. I almost feel like it could slightly be the game that's messing up in that kind of a way rather than me. But I will acknowledge that it could be slightly my fault. If I was to do this experiment again, I would make sure that the looting sword is out of my inventory whenever I'm doing the bow test. And I would probably also test out on different mobs. We basically did the creepers today, mainly because that's the thing that we were worrying about a lot on the Craftaway server. We want lots of gunpowder so we can make lots of rockets. People have different rocket shops, and they've been grinding, trying to get creepers manually because mob farms don't work in Bedrock either, or at least they don't work as well. So that's the whole entire reasoning between me using that. There's a lot of things that I could probably do differently in my experiment, but those were the main takeaways, is use it on different mob drops and actually make sure that I have a non-contaminated test result by just chucking the looting sword away, making sure that that doesn't ever happen. So what is my conclusion from this data? The ending conclusion that we are going to have towards the scientific experiment is the fact that looting is better than a bow. We did consider our percent errors, and technically it's probably closer to our theoretical values, but we're not going to consider that. We're not going to consider that as fact because the data doesn't show it. The fact remains that the data does show that in the end, looting was able to win, even though this ended up getting more than we expected, and this ended up getting less than we expected. So that's the case. That's the ending conclusion. I already said how I would do this experiment differently. So yeah, that's kind of all for this episode here. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It was very much different than what I normally do, but it was something that I really wanted to do. I really wanted to confirm or deny whether or not looting was better, because so many members of the Craftaway realm here believed that bows did better. So guys who are watching this from the Craftaway realm, sorry, but you just wasted a bunch of gunpowder by attacking them with a bow instead of attacking them with a sword. But yeah, if you did like this video, like it. Be sure to comment to tell me what you think. Be sure to also comment if you think that I had more errors than I reported. And until next time, I will see you guys. Oh wait, one more thing. That was a very abrupt ending, but right here, all this gunpowder is donated to Klautos. He provided the base, so I will provide him the gunpowder. Anyway, until next time, I will see you guys all later. Bye.